Hello neighbor, this is Curt with Etrailer, and today we're going to take a look at the Inno Aero roof rack on our 2025 Ford Maverick. Now if you've had any experience with this roof rack, or if you watch this video and you have some questions about it, go ahead and leave those in the comments below. We'd love to take those experiences and questions and use them to help our other neighbors make the best decision possible. Now there are going to be times when you're planning your next adventure in your Maverick and you're going to come across perhaps you don't really have the space in your truck bed in the back of the vehicle for you to store some of that extra gear that you're taking with you. In that case, a roof rack is going to be a good friend. You're going to be able to put up here maybe some bikes that you want to get out of the way that you don't want to put in the bed or on a hitch receiver, perhaps a cargo box, perhaps you're taking a kayak somewhere. These are all good options to use on a roof rack. Now, as far as weight capacity, you are going to want to double check your owner's manual. Between the rack weight capacity and your owner's manual roof capacity, you're going to have to go with the lower number. So if you're planning on carrying, heavier loads, my suggestion would be rather than a roof rack to take a look at a bed ladder rack. Now this is a flush roof rack, which means that the crossbars come to a dead end, they don't overhang. And that is good in a lot of cases because, people tend to have an issue with clearance getting in and out, maybe worrying about bumping their head on something. With this, you don't have to do it. It actually dead ends right at the door seam, so you're not in any kind of danger of that. You're going to be able to mount things on these crossbars either with a clamp system or there is a weather strip up the top that's going to allow you to use T-track accessories. That's going to be accessed right here through the tower. All you would need to do is push this track down and slide your accessories across. Now, as far as how your roof rack is going to fit on your Maverick, let's take our measuring tape and have a look. Now, the front bar there is just a little bit shorter because of the contour of the roof. It's just a little bit shorter than our back bar. It's going to give us 42 inches of usable bar space for clamp accessories and just under 46 inches of track space for any of our T-track accessories. So bear that in mind when you're looking at different accessories and considering what you're going to be carrying on your roof. The other important measurement to know is what is our crossbar spread, meaning from the center of the front bar to the center of the back bar, where are we at? And we are right at the 28-inch mark. And that's a good place to be. Most roof rack accessories require a spread of somewhere between 26 and 32 inches. So a 28-inch spread is one that's going to accommodate most rooftop accessories. The other thing we're going to want to talk about is basically height. How much height is this going to add to your vehicle? It's going to give you an extra 3 inches above the vehicle, and that actually makes this a very low profile type of bar. A lot of bars actually come up to the 4, maybe 4¼ inch mark, so these do sit pretty low for you. However, the downside of that is what kind of clearance do we have underneath? And underneath we've got about 1 3/4 inches. So just bear that in mind. That shouldn't give you a problem with any of the clamp-on accessories that you might want to put up here, but it is something to be conscious of. The one obstacle that we have on our roof that might give us some trouble depending on what we want to put up here is going to be this antenna back here. The antenna, the body of it is actually just about as tall as the top of the crossbars. So bear that in mind when you're putting things up here. This is going to come almost flush with the top of your bars. One upside though is that you can actually unscrew and remove the extension to the antenna, meaning that a lot of roof boxes are still going to be able to be used up here. And that's important to know because with a flush mounted crossbar like this, you are going to be kind of forced to mount your accessories toward the middle. So that is something to keep in mind, this antenna right here. Now, one of the biggest things that I like about Inno is all of the added value that you get with it. One of the biggest things is that you will get lockable towers. They'll all come with a metal key core. You'll get a set of keys to unlock all of them. And remember, this is going to be how we get into our track, so it's going to keep your accessories safe as well. The reason that's big is because other manufacturers make you purchase your own separate key cores and keys, and that just adds to the expense. Having it all come with it out of the box, I think, is an enormous value from Inno. The other great thing about Inno is they're consistently easy installs. No matter what kind of roof you have, if Inno has a kit for it, they go up pretty easily compared to other manufacturers. And with that in mind, why don't you stick around and we'll show you exactly how we got this roof rack on our Maverick. Now, as we begin our installation process, we've kind of got everything laid out here that we need. Keep in mind that with the bar, the wider part of the bar is going to be facing the front of the vehicle. And with that in mind, our towers are going to be site specific. They're going to be indicated by an R or by an L, R meaning the passenger side. So with the way that we have this laid out, we're going to go ahead and turn this over. We've already got our left hand or our driver's side on. We're going to go ahead and get our passenger side on right now. Now, to prep the bar, the first thing we'll do is come right over here. We've got this open area here. We're going to slide that over all the way out to the end so that this tray is exposed. Once that's out, we're going to be taking this piece here. We're going to insert it into the end there and slide it in all the way back into place. And to do that, we'll push this tab down and slide it all the way in. Now, if you notice here, we'll have an open tab area here. We've got a hole for a bolt here. We've got another tab right here. And what those are going to line up with on our tower is this tab here is going to go into this slot, and then the bolt hole and this tab are going to line up here and here. So we'll start by putting it in at a little bit of an angle and getting that bigger tab that's closest to the middle. Once we get that locked in, we're going to go ahead and slide it all the way to the end here until we can lay our tower flat. And once that is done, we've got the bolt hole lined up. We're going to take our Allen tool here. We're going to go ahead and tighten that down just until we get a little bit of resistance, because we still want to be able to maneuver this, but we also don't want it going everywhere because we're going to be taking some measurements. So that's got it nice and snug in there. We're still able to move it back and forth to get our measurements. So the next thing we're going to do is go ahead and put on our rubber foot pad. Now, this is pretty easy to line up. If you're worried about which way this goes, you can actually line up these different bolt head tops here to tell you, and this actually pops on very, very easily, just like so. And this is going to be contoured to fit the edge of your roof and just give a nice soft pad so that any weight that we put on our roof rack isn't going to do any damage to our vehicle. The next step in the process is going to be to measure how far apart these feet need to be and then lock them down into place. Now, the install guide that comes with these crossbars is giving us measurements for the overhang style. These bars are a flush style, so we're going to have to kind of take some measurements on our own. So what I'm doing is I'm getting the towers spread out as far as they go. We're going to get it up on the roof, and because we left them a little bit loose, we're going to be able to maneuver a little bit, get them in the right position, and get our proper measurement before tightening them down. So we got our measurement figured out as far as how far apart the feet need to be. We figured it would be pretty close to the rear bar measurement that we already installed, but it turns out it's exactly the same. So what you'll do is you'll measure from this center mark here 20 7/8 inches to the edge of the tower on both sides. And now that we've got that all set, we got our foot pads in place, we're going to go ahead and lay this into position up here on the vehicle. Now, they do give a specific place for that to be as well. So we're going to go ahead and get our measuring tape, and we're going to measure from this, from between the two doors here, from where they split right here in the middle. So the measurement that we needed to take for our second set of crossbars was 15 3/4 inches from where the doors come together here. Our front bar placement is going to be 11 3/4 inches up to the center of that tower. So I'm going to get a roundabout idea of exactly where that is. So we'll be putting them about right here. We're not clipping them in place yet, so I just want to get them in the right area. Once I have them exactly where we want them, we'll go ahead and clamp them down onto our roof. So getting it up on the roof, I'm not all that worried about any damage going on the roof, mainly because the only contact that's going to be made are these rubber foot pads, and I'm trying to put them right here along this trim line, in that spot where they indicated they should be. So I'm just going to go ahead and kind of lay this over the top. I'm going to do the same right over here. So now we've got it right in the general area that we want it to be, and one of the things that I was looking for was to make sure that the lip of our rubber foot pad comes right over the edge here, and it does. It actually fits really, really well. But now what I want to do is get down. I'm going to take those measurements from the door seam to the center. I'm going to make sure that they match up on both sides. That's very important. You do want to make sure that these bars are perfectly parallel with each other, and the best way to do that is to match the measurements from both sides. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. Now the next step in the installation process is going to be to put our clamps on. But before we do that, Inno does provide us with some adhesive pads to put here just to give us some extra protection on the vehicle paint. However, we're not doing a permanent install on this vehicle today, so to substitute for that, we're just going to put a bit of painter's tape up here just to help protect it a little bit more. Okay, so we're going to start by removing this bolt right here. We're going to put our clamp up in its place, just like so, and get in here and start re-threading it. Now, we're going to be tightening these down on the driver and the passenger side, kind of incrementally. We don't want to over-tighten one side and lose our padding. So once I get this snug, I'm going to go ahead over to the other side and just start kind of tightening down a little bit on each end. So now we've gone ahead and gotten everything tightened down on each side. Now all we're left doing is taking the provided Inno tool and getting it to torque. Now what you'll hear is a loud audible pop out of this tool when we have it torqued down to spec. Just like that. Now we've got it good on both sides and we are ready to place our end caps. So the end caps are side specific. You will have to look where this is going to line up on the tower to make sure that you've got the right side. So we're going to go ahead and slip it right on over. We're going to use the provided lock and key. Now we're set to load up and hit the road. So these Inno crossbars, I think, are an excellent choice for the Maverick. I love how low profile they are, which to me fits the vehicle style perfectly. We just want to bear in mind our rooftop capacities and things like that when we're loading up. So this is the Inno Roof Rack on our 2025 Ford Maverick. I'm Curt with Etrailer. Thanks for stopping by.